By the end of this extra chapter, students will be able to
analyzing how external factors influence behavior, identifying and using local healthcare resources, and increasing self-awareness and communication skills. The bell work exercise that can be used for the chapter is the following. Students can be asked to raise their hand if you felt pressured to go out, you felt pressured to bully someone else, you felt pressured to skip school. The content of the chapter we'll cover is as follows. What is pressure? The feelings of being pressed on by something else, as in your thoughts, or someone else. The ways in which pressure exists only multiplies as we get older. Positive versus negative pressure. Students might experience two types of pressure, positive or negative. Positive pressure, whether it's by yourself or by someone else, encourages growth and healthy risk-taking. An example of this may be if you are nervous to try out for your school sports team, but your friends motivate you to do your best and that it will be fun. On the other hand, negative pressure makes you uncomfortable, unprepared, or even unsafe. An example of this may be if you and your friends are at a party and everyone else is drinking. People around you or you yourself might feel the pressure to also drink, even though you might not want to. Where does pressure come from? Pressure can come from our families, friends, environments, schools, and even ourselves. Ask students, where do you feel the most pressure? Pressure from family and school may look like this: difficulty communicating with family or teachers, a need to perform well academically, or a need to pursue a major or sports that you are not interested in.
Peer pressure can influence a person to do something that is relatively harmless or something that has more serious consequences. Peer pressure is most often used when referring to behaviors that are not considered socially acceptable or desirable, such as experimentation with substances. People's beliefs of others can also create pressure. Direct and indirect peer pressure. When peers pressure, pressure from peers can be direct or indirect. Identifying direct peer pressure is much easier than identifying indirect peer pressure. Direct peer pressure in situations such as a friend saying, "Oh, come on, have a drink." Indirect peer pressure would occur in a situation in which, for example, alcohol is available at a party. Perceived peer pressure. We create the pressure. A person might feel pressure to do something just because others are doing it. Perceived peer pressure is related to our beliefs about how our peers behave. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is the belief that everyone is doing something and is often inaccurate, especially regarding substances. This is language commonly used, especially with youth. Why we give in to peer pressure may include examples such as fitting in with the group, to avoid feeling awkward, to not feel left out, or being unsure of what to do. Ask students, what are other reasons why people may give in to peer pressure? What can youth do? Listen to your gut. Plan ahead. Blame your parents. Practice saying no. Set boundaries. Hang out with people who feel the same. Make a bailout phrase. Offer alternatives. The following exit ticket is available to use. What type of pressure, positive or negative, direct or indirect? There may not be one right answer for everyone, so encourage your students to share their reasonings with one another about their responses. A cafeteria line with 4 students. 3 of the students have already chosen salads for their lunches. The other student looks at a line for burgers and fries, starts to walk towards that line, then looks at the students with their salads. Finally, the student chooses the salad. It is important to help students understand their reasoning for the choices they make. For some people, their lived experiences may determine their perception of positive or negative pressure. In this example, from the outside looking in, watching a student choosing a salad over a burger because their friends are doing it appears like positive peer pressure. However, for that student, it may have felt like negative peer pressure due to shame or guilt around their food choices. 2 people at a skate park, watching others do tricks. Person 1, you've got to try that, it's such a rush. Person 2, no thanks, I really don't know what I'm doing. Person 1, come on, just try it. Person 2, This would be an example of direct peer pressure. It could be perceived as positive because it encourages healthy risk-taking and putting the person out of their comfort zone. It could also be perceived as negative because the person may feel unsafe or uncomfortable. It is important to emphasize that the content in this chapter can be used as a mini lecture or can be expanded by having youth do small group discussions about peer pressure and their beliefs in how to combat it. Additionally, students can identify examples of peer pressure they see in different areas, including substance use, based on material taught within the other 14 chapters of this curriculum.